Even if net migration wasn't quite as high as some people predicted, it is still a big number. 606,000, a record for a calendar year. Leaders of both the main political parties want it to be smaller, even if they won't say what their preferred number is. And actually, there may be some sign it's already coming down. It did seem to peak in September, and the Office for National Statistics has spoken of a levelling off. It's important to note that this is a number very much set by the government. We'll take you back. Some of this data isn't directly comparable because of a change in how it's calculated, but you get the broad trend. So at the end of 2019 over here, non-EU immigration overtakes immigration from the EU, and then it soars upwards. That is the Brexit effect. At this point, government is setting the terms of entry. And this is why non-EU immigrants are given visas to the UK. And it shows why that big number is so hard to reduce, because it's made of smaller numbers here that politicians and the public actually quite like. So in the light blue bit, you've got work visas. A huge part of their growth has been for health and care workers. Remember those staff shortages in the NHS? Well, that was the attempt to plug the gap. Or take study visas, dark blue. Again, deliberate government policy to attract bright young people from around the world and the billions they bring in tuition fees. And there's also been a big jump in the purple. That is humanitarian visas compared to last year. People from Ukraine, from Hong Kong, from Afghanistan, policies which command public support. So back to the big number, because it is big. In fact, it's nearly as big as adding an entire Glasgow to the country in the space of a year in terms of the population. It's also a useful way of thinking about impact. To support the population of Glasgow, the city has 9 main hospitals, 140 primary schools, around 300,000 houses. Now, it's not a direct comparison. The immigration population is obviously dispersed. And for schools in the NHS, there's another thing happening here in terms of immigrants. They tend to be younger than old British people, so you get fewer people over 65, so less pressure on the NHS. And then you have fewer people in terms of proportion under 15 years old, so less pressure on schools. But housing is certainly an issue. The number of households in Glasgow is around 300,000. That is coincidentally the same as the government target for building houses. That is a target it has never met. It doesn't look in danger of meeting. So the question around net migration is usually whether it should be lower or perhaps higher in the future. We should probably also be asking more questions about how we match our infrastructure now to the big number that is already here.